This video is going to go through volume of cubes and cuboids. Because it is quite a straightforward concept, we're also going to go into some more problem solving kind of questions where you may have to work out the length of a side, or you may have a more complex compound shape made up of cuboids that you have to find the volume of. So here we have a basic cuboid, and we're finding volume, so we are finding the space inside of the 3D shape. We're not finding area anymore, we're not finding the outside flat surfaces, we are finding the space inside the 3D shape. We measure it. Now we are going to cubes, so centimeters cubed, meters cubed, millimeters cubed, whatever your units are, they will be cubed for volume because we're talking about the space inside of a 3D shape. Yeah, and it's pretty straightforward. To work out the volume of a cuboid, you do length times width times height. So obviously you will have 3 dimensions because it is a 3-dimensional shape. So you can call them whatever you like, really. Length, width, depth, length, height, depth, length, width, height, like I'm calling them here, but you can call them whatever you like, but as long as there are 3 completely separate dimensions, so you've got 10, you've got 4, and you've got 5 there, and you multiply all 3 of them together. It is as simple as that. So we're going to do 10 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 5. 10 times 4 is 40, 40 times 5 is 200, and that is centimeters cubed, and that's it. That is as simple as it gets. You just need to multiply the 3 sides together. Really, really straightforward. Okay. Obviously, if you have a cube, it's a similar idea. These lines on the sides show that they are all the same. So your 3 dimensions, your length, your width, and your height are all the same length. They're all 6 because it is a cube. So to work out the volume, we are going to multiply 6 by itself 3 times. We're going to do 6 times 6 times 6, which is the same, just to help us as we go through on a further question, which is the same as writing 6 cubed. Oh goodness, just throwing my calculator around, which is 216 centimeters cubed. And again, that's it. You multiply your 3 dimensions together and you've got the volume. Really, really simple. So obviously we're going to make it a little bit more difficult. Here you've got a cuboid. You have a length of 8, a width of 4, and a height of 8. We don't know the height, but you do know the volume. This time we've been told that the volume is 192. So if I just put it into the formula, we know 192 is equal to 8 times 4 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32, so we've got 32h, and it's just algebra. It's just solving an equation. We need to divide by 32 to get what the height is. So 192 divided by 32 is 6. So the height has to be 6. That would be centimeters because it's just a length. And that's the answer. If you find the algebra quite hard to get your head around, basically you take whatever the volume is, you divide it by 8, and then you divide it by 4, and that would give you h. You divide by the dimensions that you've got. You're working the formula backwards. So if you were trying to find the volume, you would multiply them all together. If you need to go back from the volume to work out a height, you need to divide by the dimensions that are already there. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's keep going. Okay, right, so again, this is why when we did the volume of the cube, we wrote it as 6 cubed, because that's going to help you with this question. So because all of the lengths are the same, I'm just going to call all of them length because they have the same value. Because it is a cube, all of these lengths are the same. The length, the height, and the width are all the same. So to work out the volume, you would do and again, I'm going to call them all the same thing. I'm going to call them length times length times length. If you multiply something by itself 3 times, you are cubing it. So that's the same as saying volume for a cube is the length cubed. If we want to work that backwards, so we have 343 is equal to L cubed, you have to do the opposite of cubing something, which is finding the cubed root, which is the sign that looks like that. So it's like a square root but with a little 3 on. And you'll find in what number times by itself 3 times makes 343. So the cube root, I'm just going to do it on my calculator, is 7. So that means the height, the height is 7, or the length, is 7 centimeters, and that's it. Okay, so for a cuboid where all the sides are different, you need to divide by the sides that you've been given. For a cube where the signs are all the same, you have to cube root the volume that you've been given to get the answer, to get the length. Okay, I hope that makes sense. The last one I'm going to go through, just going to make it even more complicated, is a shape like this where it's a compound shape. Just like when we did areas of compound shapes, the easiest way to do this is to split it up. So I'm going to split it straight across here so that I have 2 different cuboids, and it might even make sense to draw out what they are. So I have this shape on the top, like that. See, it's a little bit wonky because I'm doing it quickly. And then I have kind of the longer shape on the bottom, like this. Again, I've got make it 3D. Okay, so those are the 2 shapes. I've now split them up into 2 different shapes, and I'm going to put the dimensions on. So the height of this one, we can see from the question, from the diagram, is 6. The width of it, we need to work out. Okay, so on this diagram, the longest length on the shape is 8, and we know these little ones are 1. So to work out the length of this part, we need to take that 8 and subtract the 2 ones from it. So this length here would be 8 take away 2, which is 6 as well. And then the depth, or the width, the length, again, whatever you want to call it, this dimension would be 4, because this is the same all the way. So all of these lines here would be 4. 4. I'm going to move this one down a little bit so it's not so cramped. That's better. Okay. And then this has, the base is 8, nice and easily seen from the question. This is 4 again, the depth of it, again from here. And then the height is going to be this height here, which is 2. So that's 2 centimeters. Okay, and then we find the volume of both, and then we add them together. So the volume of this one, if I call this A and this B, the volume of A is 6 times 6 times 4, which is, I'm just going to do it on my calculator for quickness, 6 times 6 times 4 is, oh goodness, I keep pressing the wrong button, 144, there we go, and that is centimeters cubed because it is volume. For the volume of B, we do 8 times 4 times 2. 8 times 4 times 2 is 64 centimeters cubed, and then the total volume, we add those 2 things together. So 144 add 64 is 208 centimeters cubed, and that is your final answer. Okay, so it looks really complicated, but as long as you split it up, I would sketch out the 2 shapes that you have when you've split it, just to make it a little bit easier. But I totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, I would split it up and sketch it out and label the dimensions just to make it a little bit easier so you can see really clearly what two shapes you have and what the lengths are. I think it's quite easy to get confused with the lengths of the different parts of it if you don't sketch it out. It doesn't have to be neat, it's only really for your working, but it will help you be able to work out what's going on in the question. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope it makes sense. Thanks for listening and have a lovely day.